let us introduce to you the Culture Blaster. It is Michael Snyder, who comes and goes in the rainbow. He is here. He is writing for the Marina Times, and he is appearing with us to give us his take on all things movies. Michael Snyder, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Kim. Hi, Albert. Hello. I guess the audience is out there. You know, What was the old THX thing? The audience is listening. Well, in our case, they're watching as well. And I'm excited. I just heard the results of the worst place to live in America poll. The winner for the 5th year in a row, Tuberville. Can you believe it?
I can indeed believe it. Yes, indeed.
Hey, have you guys joined Threads yet? It's only been a day, and my Threads account is already knotted up and frayed. I'm not kidding.
Have you been on it seriously, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I jumped in. It's like a mix of Instagram and Twitter, and it has a lot less disinformation so far. But give it a couple days.
Yeah. As more people join, the lies.
There's never been anything like this.
They said in one day, 30 million people signed up. So that's nothing to sneeze at, right?
Yeah. I was one of them. Look, I'm not a big fan of Zuckerberg. The Zuck, can go suck. But I will say that he's easier to stomach than Elon Musk. And boy, that's saying, do you prefer a headache to an upset stomach? But in case you want to check out my account in all its wit, insight, and tasteful imagery, my handle at Threads is the same as my handle at Instagram, Mike the Knife 123, all lowercase, Mike the Knife 123. But on the other hand, don't. It's cool with me. I don't care.
Well, what I do care about is what you think about the movie. So you want to start with Joyride?
Well, I think that's the way to roll. Joyride is the latest groundbreaker in a groundswell of representational movies, a comedic road picture about 20 to 30 something quartet of female Asian American friends who end up having, frankly, wild times on a trip to Beijing. You could notice elements of Crazy Rich Asians and the Aquafina vehicle, The Farewell, which, by the way, are both laudable, as the events of Joyride are triggered by one of the foursome focused businesswoman and culturally adrift adoptee Audrey, played by Broadway baby and Emily in Paris co-star Ashley Park. She's seeking out her birth parents in China. And, it's directed in very crisp fashion by Adele Lim, who pretty much delivers the goods in her first feature film. This manages to be its own thing, despite the seeming influences, and it boasts some genuine laugh out loud moments. At least I laughed out loud. So accompanied by her batty bilingual bestie Lolo, played by Sherry Cola, and her mordantly weird cousin Deadeye, played by Sabrina Wu, Audrey reconnects in Beijing with her college friend Kat, who found fame as a star in Chinese soap operas and is played by the mega-talented Stephanie Su from Everything Everywhere All at Once. So things get really raunchy, but they also kind of get tender as the four compatriots learn about their roots, themselves, and one another, like totally bonding. They have a ball. And the screenwriters, Lim, Teresa Hsiao, and Family Guy sitcom veteran Cherry Chivaprat-Dumrong. That's really her name. And she's tight with Seth MacFarlane and has done some funny scripts on Family Guy. They basically know what they write. They're all Asian American women, and they also deliver the hilarity. So there's a thoroughly modern Good Girls Gone Wild vibe. So it's been likened to Bridesmaids and Girls Trip by some of my lazier peers. But Joyride is its own thing, despite a few clunky moments, a bit of gleeful but potentially off-putting vulgarity, and some scrambling in the final act. take the trip if you want a little joy. And
Mhm.
by the way, Albert, some banging K-pop is on board here. Joyride is in theaters.
I was going to ask about music because on Emily in Paris, Park has quite the voice. So I wondered if she used it in this movie as well.
Well, there's a lot of cool music in the film, some needle drops. I think, like I said, Albert will get a kick out of it, and any fans of contemporary pop music and K-pop in particular will get a little to chew on. And Joyride was a surprisingly pleasurable voyage for me.
Oh,
I love K-pop,
right.
and I am Asian American, so I do love the representation here. So I might have to check this one out.
Cool. Tell us what you think when you see it. Let's get to something a little more indie/foreigny. The next couple of films are going to be more in line with the kind of snooty stuff that you definitely hear about from me. I mean, we talk about
fartsy, huh?
We talk about blockbusters. We talk about all kinds of things, animated stuff and superhero stuff. But let me get real with you. Let me get a little more arcane with the peerless British actor Richard E. Grant, the wonderful French actress Julie Delpy, and the rising UK star Daryl McCormack facing off throughout the smartly formulated, darkly amusing mystery of manners and mores, The Lesson. You're in for a compelling time. In this movie, Grant is the acclaimed and arrogant author J.M. Sinclair, who's trying to complete his latest novel and having trouble doing so. Delpy is his canny and artistically savvy wife, Helene. McCormack is Liam, an aspiring writer and big Sinclair fan who is absolutely thrilled that he's been hired to tutor the Sinclair son, Bertie, played by Stephen McMillan, for university prep, since this is going to offer Liam access to his idol. And, the Sinclairs have some secrets and some family tensions that could cause havoc and blow up in Liam's face if he's not careful. So there's a nice bit of tension. Grant, whose recent turn in the Melissa McCarthy drama, Can You Ever Forgive Me, or whatever the hell that was called, that was a stunner, and he slips right into the smug a-hole character of Sinclair and delivers a peak performance here. Delpy, probably best known in the U.S. for co-starring with Ethan Hawke in the Romantic Before Sunrise trilogy, has been kind of laying low for a few years and is such a welcome presence here, and in any movie for that matter. Welcome back, Julie. And McCormack, who was a find as the caring gigolo opposite Emma Thompson in Good Luck to You, Leo Grand, and just as good in the recent Apple TV series Bad Sisters, continues to show his range and on-screen charisma as the beleaguered Liam. Alex McKeith's neo-noir script kind of tips its hand a little too easily and a little too early, maybe, but director Alice Troughton and the cast paper over the few wonky bits to make The Lesson worthy of being on the movie's syllabus. I thought The Lesson was first rate. It's in theaters.
Okay. First rate. Well, that makes me kind of want to see it. Is it in English or is it in a different language?
It's in English, since it's set in England and stars English actor Richard E. Grant and from the UK. By the way, Julie Delpy is quite bilingual. She's lived here on the West Coast for quite a while. I think she has split her time between here and France and does her share of English language films, such as Before Sunrise.
Okay, let's move to the biosphere.
Okay, speaking of actors elevating material, Sterling K. Brown of This Is Us and Mark Duplass of the indie filmmaking and acting Duplass Brothers are the stars of a strange and fascinating two-hander entitled Biosphere, and that, of course, is not to be confused with the bonehead Pauly Shore comedy Biodome. No, this is different. And the Brown Duplass duo actually make Biosphere work to a point. Here's the premise.
I love the picture of them with their little faces sticking out of the egg on the movie poster.
Well, there you go. You're intrigued. The poster did its job. You're intrigued.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, again, the premise. In the aftermath of a world-decimating apocalypse, or I don't know, a nuclear holocaust, two men have been surviving in a self-contained, domed environment. They were apparently both deeply connected to what went bad, and now their supplies may be running out, while an external anomaly could possibly undermine the integrity of the dome. Are they the last men on Earth? Maybe, maybe not. But if so, how will humanity survive? Is there any hope of adaptation amid the ruined terrain? So Biosphere, co-written by Duplass and director Mel Eslin, has moments of dry humor, musings on society, politics, and gender, and great chemistry between its co-leads. In fact, the movie's biggest selling point is the interplay between Brown and Duplass, who are pretty fearless in their approach to some rather uncomfy material. Ultimately, Biosphere seemed a little too sketchy, not fully formed, but its provocative ideas and the commitment shown by Brown and Duplass were enough to keep me watching until a rather truncated end. So, more on the positive side than the negative side, but I don't know that this will be for everyone. I was kind of caught up in it. It's in theaters, again, Biosphere.
Okay. And what about Scarlet?
Okay, so Scarlet is a post-World War I drama and coming-of-age story set in the hard-scrabble French countryside as wounded veteran Raphael, played by Raphael Thierry, a kind of rough-hewn but kind of lovable guy, comes home to rural Normandy from the field of battle to discover that his wife has died in tragic circumstances and has left him a single father to an infant daughter named Juliette. So cared for by a maternal older woman in the village and the doting Raphael, who, by the way, happens to be a skilled woodworker, Juliette grows into a sweet young woman with a kind heart, musical talent, and a yearning for something bigger than her village life. That sounds a little like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. And
you know what? This movie is right up my alley. Your description, the poster, I'm thinking this one's for me.
Anyway, Juliette and her father are mocked or reviled by some locals. And so that's not pleasant, but even worse, her dreams seem destined to never be realized until a handsome adventurer, played by the jaunty French leading man Louis Garrel, crashes his plane in a nearby field and sparks fly between the two of them. Still, the path to true love is never an easy one, especially in a gentle fable with music like Scarlet, which was directed, by the way, and co-written with a light touch by Pietro Marcello. Juliette Jouin, who I'd never seen in films, total newcomer to me. She's absolutely charming as the grown-up Juliette. And the whole enterprise is this sort of arty, airy diversion that the French do so well. I mean, it's not a classic, Kim, but Scarlet is definitely enticing and romantic enough to merit a look. It is in French with English subtitles, so you'd have to be ready to do a little reading while you're watching. Scarlet is in theaters for now, but I bet you it'll be fun to watch and pleasing to watch at home when it finally gets to streaming.
Awesome. I'm putting it on my my Michael Snyder list that I'm keeping. What about The League? Do we have another baseball documentary coming out?
Yeah, and a really good one. While our Giants are struggling to make some headway in the National League West, and they're playing against one of their opponents, the Rockies, this weekend, The League has been released, and it is a detailed and invigorating documentary about Negro League baseball. Its highs, its lows, how it fits in the grand sociological scheme of things. And there's all this archival footage and interviews that are absolutely fascinating. And I guess things that were unearthed that we've never seen. And that means interviews with legends like Buck O'Neill and Satchel Paige. These guys basically built a style of baseball that eventually, and it was great baseball, that compelled the racist owners of Major League Baseball to start admitting black players, obviously led by Jackie Robinson. And even guys like Willie Mays played in the Negro Leagues. And I just thought it was really just very moving and very informative. And you learned about all of these like rival teams and feuds, and it was an amazing thing. And it actually was a means by which the black population could come together in a public circumstance without any kind of fear of coming up against, the sort of racist bigotry and hysteria that did mark parts of American history. And these guys were phenomenal players. They were just, amazing athletes. And, it ended up being integral to bringing black players into the major leagues where, it's de rigueur now. You got the talent, you get in, man. It's kind of great.
I'm going to ding you for integral and de rigueur. Both.
Oh,
boom, boom.
You do you. By the way, it's in theaters this weekend, and it will go to streaming in a week. And it does also I'd like to see the movie supported in theaters, but it seems like something that'll be great to watch at home. Documentaries do scan well at home, generally speaking. The League, by the way, was directed by a gentleman by the name of Samuel D. Pollard, and kudos to him. This, by the way, there's rough language and stuff about violence. There's racism on display here, but it's absolutely worth seeing.
Do you want to do a quick review of the worst ones or talk about The Hitchhiker?
The Hitchhiker, I know nothing about The Hitchhiker.
Oh, I thought that was the Apple TV series that you would.
No. It's called Hijack. It's a totally different thing.
My apologies. I wrote it down wrong.
Yeah, you leave this to me. No, Hijack is a pretty. I love Idris Elba's work. I think he's really, really great. And he shows up in the Citadel miniseries that was recently aired on Apple, and at either end of the first season, if you will, in a small role. But this is Idris Elba front and center in a real-time, an 8-episode, meaning roughly 8-hour real-time thriller about a plane being hijacked, and he's sort of a corporate negotiator who's on the plane, and it's up to him to try to figure out a way to get everybody back to their destination in one piece. And I tell you something, I've seen 3 episodes, and I am completely caught up in it. It's really I'm like, bring on the next episode, please. This is making me crazy. That kind of feeling where you kind of want to, you can't wait. One of the reasons people sometimes do wait in these cases and want to binge is for the very reason that I'm saying. I'm on tenterhooks. I want episode 4. I want to get into the 4th hour of this hijacking, and it's pretty impressive. And by the way, it was created by George Kay, who was also a pretty terrific screenwriter. And he's the guy behind the recent Lupin series on Netflix, which I absolutely loved, and a cool British crime drama called Criminal, and some of its offshoots. So I thought I was in good hands. And in fact, I was. Idris Elba is Sam Nelson, who's caught in the middle of this thing. And man, the guy's got charisma for days, and the story's really cool.
I love how you always recommend a TV show. So that's on Apple TV. Thank you for that. Hijack is the name. And let's just do a quick recap. Joyride, the movie, you found it pleasurable. The Lesson, you called it first rate. You enjoyed it. Biosphere, you kind of were into it, even though you said it wasn't fully formed and it might not be for everyone. Scarlet, you called it enticing and romantic. The League, you said it was a great documentary, that it was moving, and that had great information as well. And then on Hijack, you're into it. You are waiting for the next episode and you're loving it. So thank you.
That wraps things up in a beautiful way. Again, always a pleasure, Kim. And wasn't there a guy named Mark who was involved in this program before? What the hell happened to him?
What?
The plan is that we're just going to stop talking about him slowly. So we're kind of going to just, his name will be mentioned less and less until eventually he's just out.
Okay. High marks for that. Anyway, great to be here. Looking forward to next week. And in the meantime, go Giants.
Hey, which one of you is
Thank
Mark
you,
Thompson?
Michael Snyder. We really appreciate you. Thank you for being here. He comes and goes on a rainbow.
Happy weekend, everybody.